Hello, hello. Axeltoss here. Camera, are you centered on me? Yes, no, maybe. I don't know how much we care. Okay. Yeah, hi. Hi. How's it going? Um, cool. So this is what is this? I don't know. I just turned on the camera and I'm going to talk a little bit. That's all it's going to be. That's all. So my name is Axeltoss and I casted at Lone Star Clash. This is going to be a bit of a vlog of sorts. The V stands for video log, so it's like a blog slash vlog thing. Where I'm just gonna talk, no pressure. Just gonna talk. We're gonna hang out and hopefully provide some perspective on my point of view from Lone Star Clash because it was an awesome event and I just want to talk about it. And I want for those of you who maybe missed it, maybe enlighten you on what you maybe should go back and watch or what you kind of missed. And for those who watched it, maybe provide some historical context, some behind-the-scenes stuff, maybe answer some questions that have been floating around in the community regarding the event. So that being said, to get started, as far as this particular type of thing is concerned, I think it's kind of cool because it helps us, get to know each other a little bit better, or helps you get to know me a little bit better at the very least, and then whoever decides to comment on YouTube or whatever, I'll try to mention those in future ones. But yeah, I'm not going to pressure myself at all with this. It's just like maybe I'll do one every week type thing, or whenever I feel like talking, I'll just turn on the camera and start doing it. Better than nothing kind of a thing. So yeah, anyway, and speaking of which, this reminds me of what I think I want to call this. I think I'm going to call it like the Axeltoss Ramble or something, because I'm literally just going to ramble and just speak and just talk and just say whatever's on my mind. No rhyme or reason, no general direction whatsoever. So we're going to have fun. Hopefully it's going to be great. Anyway, so Lone Star Clash 3 happened this past weekend. A big talking point was my voice, am I dying, so on and so forth. I'm not dying, I'm fine. I was just sick leading into the event, but thank you so much for, I guess thinking of me and worrying on my behalf, but do not worry, I'm fine. Just a little bit sick leading into the weekend. Another kind of thing that was floating out there is like, oh my gosh, he's back. Where's he been? Axeltoss, we haven't seen you forever. Blah 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 blah. So MLG ended, or my involvement with MLG ended in November. And again, guys, if you have any questions as I'm talking and you're not able to backtrack, and because I know I'm kind of skipping some steps if you've never seen me before, kind of a thing, just throw a comment in the chat below and I'll try to answer them. But anyway, MLG ended about for me like 7-8 months ago in November, and then I had to make a decision. I had an apartment in New York. To kind of backtrack a little bit, I had a year left of school. MLG approached me when I was a senior in college and said, hey, come to New York City and come commentate StarCraft. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. Let's do it. So I went over there. So, in a situation when I split with MLG, I had a year left of school. So, I had to make a decision. Okay, do I jump back into esports stuff? Do I finish school? It was a whole process. But anyway, long story short, ended up moving back to Texas. My twin sister actually moved to New York. As I moved to Texas, we kind of switched places a little bit because she got a job in New York City. And a part of that, she was wanting to come hang out with me, but and then I left, which is whatever. But it worked out in that she actually is now staying in my apartment, and she's having a great time in New York City. So super happy for her. So anyway, I came back to Texas, and this is the past 6, 7, 8 months, and then it's a period of I re-enrolled in school, and now I'm in the process of finishing, and I'm also in a process of like figuring out where I kind of want to go. People are naturally going to ask what my degree is. My degree is major communication, minor in journalism. So, pretty flexible, can go in any general direction. But anyway, that's where I've kind of been the past 5, 6 months, really focusing on school, really trying to iron out exactly how I want to spend my time. I've also, taken some time to go outside and exercise a bit and try to, just really focus on taking care of myself. But anyway, Lone Star Clash, historically, I've been involved with every single one. Even before Lone Star Clash existed, TESPA had some events that I was involved with, and honestly, I filled a pretty major role in the establishment of Lone Star Clash 1, which a lot of people don't necessarily know. They just saw me as a caster, but it was one of those situations where I was a very eager young guy, just getting in esports, something cool that I saw I could have an impact in pretty quickly, saw it was growing, saw it was exploding, and just wanted to get involved, wanted to just pour my passion into it. And that involved me meeting a lot of different really cool people in Texas, because again, I grew up in Texas. You know, I reached out to Andrew Tomlinson from CSN. I reached out to the Rosen brothers. I reached out to Mark Faraz from Quantic Gaming, and then we all kind of just started brainstorming and we wanted to make stuff happen. And then Lone Star Clash 1 kind of materialized, but and you know, there's a lot of stories there which I might get into later on down the road, as far as all the processes that went into Lone Star Clash 1 securing players. Like, there's a great story very briefly about Dragon, where a caster actually messed up on cast and said something terrible about Dragon. Of course, the caster was apologizing, but he got fired. Playhem wanted to apologize to Dragon. They're like, all right, Dragon, we're sorry that this happened. We're sorry our caster said this. And they offered to fly him out down to IPL. And then, you know, it was a situation where, like, let's try to get Dragon at Lone Star Clash. I ended up calling the manager of Dragon and being like, hey, so IPL is a month after Lone Star Clash 1. Can we make something happen here? And then eventually it materialized to get Dragon. But we actually were able to get Dragon there at Lone Star Clash 1. And there's a story like that behind literally every single player that we got at Lone Star Clash 1. And for those of you who remember the event, it was freaking fantastic. But anyway, I'm a Texas guy, so I'm always going to be involved in Lone Star Clash, at least I hope. Casted Lone Star Clash 2. In comes Lone Star Clash 3. And, you know, I've been taking a bit of a break, kind of, you know, trying to figure out what I'm doing. But, you know, I've been involved in all Lone Star Clashes, so naturally I'm like, all right, let's do it. And again, I've never been paid for any of this, so that wasn't even a talking point. I'm like, guys, let's get this done. Let's make it happen. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. I'm going to come back, and I'm just going to have fun and enjoy myself. And of course, seeing my friends again is another gigantic reason why I made that decision to do that. But so yeah, that's kind of a roundabout story of where I've been, and kind of the introduction into Lone Star Clash 3. So that was this past weekend. Made the drive down there. Stayed at my buddy Andrew's house. Again, Andrew Tomlinson. I'll probably mention him a lot if I keep doing this. Great friend of mine. We've been in esports for a long time together. Anyway, stayed at his house, and then, you know, stayed at a hotel. What do I want to talk about now? What do I want to talk about? So Lone Star Clash 3, the weekend. Yeah. So I was sick leading up to it. I almost didn't go, but I'm like, you know what? Got to muscle through it. Went. Jumped on camera. It was great seeing Jeff and Kevin again, and, you know, hopped on camera, and then just started doing my casting thing. I'm trying to decide what kind of direction I want to go in here. What do I want to talk about next? I'm thinking through some questions I've been asked about the event and what you guys would probably care about, at least from my perspective. Yeah. Okay, I want to talk about the people, I guess, at Lone Star Clash 3. I want to talk about the people who made it happen. I want to talk about the volunteers, because they are awesome. One of my favorite parts about esports events is you're going to have something in common with every single person there, because you're there. Like, the same with going to a football game. You're going to be able to strike up a conversation with anyone based on whatever jersey they're wearing, you know, maybe trash talk them if they're supporting a different team. But that's the really cool part about community events that kind of bring people together, is you have those talking points, and then awesome conversations can happen, and you can just make a bunch of new friends, and you can just kind of feel the passion running throughout the place. So that's a big part of why I love the Lone Star Clashes, is that feeling is there. It is palpable, and it's a huge reason why, if you guys are thinking about making stuff happen, you know, don't think you can't. Like, there is someone within 5 miles of you right now, I guarantee it, who might be watching this, or who might be, you know, feeling the same things or thinking the same things about, you know, what your passions are, as far as, you know, making stuff happen. It's definitely doable. All you got to do is kind of come together and make it happen. And that's exactly what Lone Star Clash kind of did. And again, I'm a primary source on this because I've been involved with them literally from the beginning. You know, a group of people who came together and made an awesome event happen. And again, it just keeps getting better, and the passionate people just keep showing up. So that was kind of a side point. I love grassroots events simply because of that. Is, you know, you don't need to go for this, you know, thousands and thousands of viewers at first. Just hang out, talk, have a discussion, find out what you want to accomplish. Do you want to provide entertainment for people? Do you want to provide an option for people to come together and kind of support a different thing? And then you just get going. You just talk and you make it happen. That's kind of how Tespit began. That's how kind of Lone Star Clash got started. And that's the kind of the mentality and the passion that fuels Lone Star Clash to this day. So in talking about the people at Lone Star Clash 3, you know, here I am, of course, a guy who's been invested in esports for a very long time, trying to to find my place, I guess, within the whole I guess ecosystem of esports. And I'm meeting all these people who I see a lot of myself in a sense where, they see something awesome that they can have an impact on, and they're trying to find out what talents they can provide to make it better. And that's just, it was phenomenal. I had so much fun just literally just going around and just talking to people, having those conversations. So that might have been one of my, and of course, as this is happening, my voice is like shattered, and a part of me wants to save it for casting, but a part of me just wants to go talk to everyone, because that's a major reason why I love esports events. Just talking to people who you have similar passions with, kind of a thing. Going on camera and casting is great and all, but at the end of the day, it's kind of just two-dimensional, or three-dimensional, I guess. Just you and the caster, and then the game at hand, which is fine and all. But I love just interacting with people and hanging out. So back to, that's a train, by the way. Back to the people at Lone Star Clash 3. It was just a great time, just going around, talking to people. My voice is a little hoarse, but it was still a lot of fun, and just getting a lot of stories and asking about experiences, and just trading ideas as far as esports and future stuff is concerned. One specific example that's coming to my mind is a guy named Justin I met. And I think he's 19 years old or 20 years old, really smart guy. And we just launched into a discussion on social media and like Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that. And he told me about a company that he's a part of with a bunch of friends, involving the management of Twitter accounts that have, thousands and thousands of followers and advertisements and the whole kind of system there. And that was a really cool conversation that I was able to have, because I just went around and getting these stories from people. It's super cool. And of course, I'm able to reflect on that, not only at the event, but right now, and able to relay that, to you. And then it's a nice flow of information here and there. But anyway, that's just like one simple example of a guy that, was at the event, has some really cool ideas. And it's a big reason why I love going to these events, just talking to people and having fun. So that might be a big reason why you guys, maybe that'll provide some inspiration for you to start something. Just, that at the bare minimum is the coolest part. People talk too much about the online audience and the money. Like, at the end of the day, it's about, coming together, hanging out, and having fun, So that's something that Lone Star Clash, I think, really does right. Not necessarily prioritizing the money as much, not necessarily prioritizing, being the best. It's just focusing on that core infrastructure of bringing people together and making an awesome event happen, kind of like grassroots feel. So yeah, that's a cool guy I met. Who else did I meet? I met a guy who's an app developer in Austin, and that was a really cool conversation. What else? I met a guy who, and hopefully these people might be watching this, so they can know, I guess, I don't just talk for the sake of talking. I met a guy who was an economist, and that was a pretty fun conversation. We talked a lot about actually cryptocurrency and like bitcoins and Dogecoins. That was fantastic. And again, these stories will continue. So many awesome conversations, so many awesome stories from the weekend, which made it so worth it and so much fun. So anyway, on to the casting and on to the games. It's been a while since I've casted. I haven't been playing a bunch. I'm not playing 20 hours a day again. School's a pretty high priority. But it was fun, getting back on camera, trying to get back in that zone that, I felt like I might forget, but once I got back into it, it was like, whatever, it was just completely natural. It was a lot of fun. Throwing the banter back and forth with commentary. Again, Jeff and Kevin are brilliant casters. And then, of course, trying to reach back in my memory to really provide the best experience possible for the audience. And now a part of me feels like getting into that discussion about, do I want to talk about that? I don't know if I want to talk about that. The whole caster versus player drama as far as, money is concerned. I don't like talking about that stuff that much, though. But I can talk. I do want to do a quick note. There's a weird perception in the community that I've been kind of feeling, and it's been something that's been happening for a while, as far as everyone has an opinion to provide based on the caster versus player, who gets what, or who should get more credit, or who matters more, or who should we be caring about more, who should we be supporting more, who should we be following more, as far as, okay, the players, they play the game, the casters, all they're doing is talking, kind of a thing. And obviously, if I say anything, it's going to appear biased because I'm a caster. But I don't really like looking at it that way necessarily. Like at the end of the day, for me, it's about coming together, having fun, and just doing something we all love, kind of a thing, and trying to make an impact on society around us or whatever. And esports honestly provides that opportunity. I'll use myself as a personal example. I was a guy in college, and then I saw this thing happening, and I jumped in and tried to apply whatever skills I had to it, and then I'm able to I guess expand my fan base or whatever they call it. Again, I don't like talking about that stuff too much, but there's opportunity there for anyone in this world to really just jump in, make an impact. A lot of that obviously has to do with the internet, and you're able to kind of get in between the powers of hierarchy or whatever that naturally exist in common day society. Like if you go join a corporation, who knows, you're going to be there for 10 years before you advance any further. Even though you might have great ideas, there's that mentality that those with experience should stay where they are, and there's not a lot of nurturing happening of the young people. Where is this conversation going? Oh my gosh, that's okay. We're having fun. But yeah, anyway, that was a pretty fun tangent, but a tangent all the same. Kind of to backpedal back to what I was talking about, as far as casters versus players and involvement in this thing. At the end of the day, I don't like seeing people in the community talking too much about that. I know that's kind of ironic considering I'm talking about it, but I feel like it's something that has to be said. It's like priority shouldn't be, all right, who's getting what? Priority should be, finding out what you like and then enjoying it and not worrying too much about who's getting what, kind of a thing. At the end of the day, if there's enough people that are passionate about this, enough people that love it enough people that are willing to sacrifice themselves or are willing to sacrifice their time to have it continue forward, then it's going to work, kind of a thing. Eventually some people are going to start really thinking about money and people are going to say, oh, business. But kind of Lone Star Clash, I think is legitimate proof that you don't need $1 billion to make it happen. You don't need $1 million. You just need a lot of passionate people willing to sacrifice time. And again, the staff there, absolutely amazing. All volunteers, all doing everything for free, which is fantastic. So cool. So yeah, so I just talked about kind of the player versus caster thing. Anything else? I mean, naturally, we could start talking about game stuff, right? Like, caster perspective as far as games from me. Obviously, I enjoyed a lot of the games. I'm going to be completely transparent and honest. I felt better casting particular games than other games. At this moment in time, I'm not entirely sure why, but something I'm going to try to force myself to do is go back and watch and really tune into what worked, what didn't work. That's something I like doing, self-criticizing, so I can improve my abilities or as far as my casting capabilities and get better. So, the one of the games that comes to mind is Stefano versus Jadong. No. Stefano versus Patrius, of course. The 2-hour something game. Are you kidding me? Of course that happens. Of course it does. But that was a lot of fun. For those of you who missed it, don't necessarily go back and watch it. But it's a situation where Swarm host versus Swarm host, literally just forever throwing locusts at each other. And the map was a situation where it was like split like this. And literally, if you envision locusts at the top of my hands and locusts at the bottom going towards each other across the map, a literal line across, just locusts attacking each other, no way to get around it, and it just lasted. It was going to last forever, pretty much. So as far as casting is concerned, that game, a lot of the thing, I'll be completely transparent. Whatever, we're friends. As in my head, I was thinking, okay, let's cast this game, blah blah blah, and then start getting to that point, and I really wish, because it's something I did a lot at MLG, was like I really got the community involved. I really tried to get the chat's interaction. That was a perfect moment to kind of open up the chat or something and just hang out with the chat, or go to Twitter or go to Facebook. But a part of me was like not wanting to bring attention to Twitter, because I could have been just like, all right guys, tweet Axeltoss questions. And again, guys, you're getting the deep thoughts of this guy right here. What goes through my mind as I'm casting, which is crazy. Why would I think about this stuff? I don't know. Yeah, I don't like necessarily mentioning my Twitter. I never mention my Twitter when I cast. I don't know why. A part of me feels, I don't know, if people want to follow me, they will. I just don't like asking for things, I guess. Maybe that's it. Anyway, but that game, A lot of things I wish I casted. I wish I casted a little bit differently. And another kind of little tangent, kind of side point is, I'm always looking for the opportunity to inject my personality into the cast, because I feel like I can tell jokes. I'm good. I'm really good at telling jokes. I'm really good at having fun. I don't know if there's a mental block though when I start casting, where I start acting official or something, where maybe I just tune in onto the strategy and my brain is like, all right, only talk about the strategy, kind of a thing. But I always look for opportunities to inject my personality in, and I don't know if that's a co-caster thing, or if that's a thing I have to get over with, or if that's something I have to force into. But then you get into the argument of, okay, what should casters talk about in StarCraft 2? Only the game? Only the players? Only the strategy that's coming forward? And you only have a certain amount of time to talk during a StarCraft 2 game. So where does that opportunity to inject your personality come into play? And that's something I really kind of find myself wanting to do, but I'm having trouble finding the opportunity to. And kind of a reason for that is I want to get to know my audience. I want the audience to get to know me. Hence this video, kind of, right? Where, there's not necessarily a game in front of me where I have to, zone in and just provide that entertainment. I feel like, caster personalities can really add a lot to a cast. And something that kind of jumps to mind is In Control. Like, he killed it. If during the finals, guys, if you missed that, definitely go back and watch, because In Control was just amazing. He was so on point with the commentary and really just injecting his personality and just having a blast with it. And I was watching that and I was just laughing so hard because it was amazing and it was perfect. And that's something he's really good at, and obviously he's gotten a lot with experience. So that's something I'm going to try to work on moving forward, because I really think that does add a lot to the commentary. It brightens things up a little bit. If you're just talking about the game the whole time, it can get a little bit boring. I love the play-by-play stuff. I can really inject that energy into I guess when battles get exciting. And this is hilarious how far this tangent is going away from what I was originally talking about. But yeah, again, some self-reflection happening there, obviously providing that perspective to you guys. That's kind of what I'm thinking about a little bit as the game's going on. So anyway, back to the Swarmhost game. Stefano versus Patrius. Don't necessarily go back and watch that. Obviously, it might start a lot of discussion as far as, Swarmhost balanced, or what can Blizzard do to fix this? And I'm going to provide some more unfluff opinion here. I love, one of my favorite matches to cast this weekend was Pult versus, was Pult versus Huck. That was a PvT, a best of 5, and it was phenomenal. It was Sunday, Championship Sunday, the first match, quarterfinals. When I reflect on the tournament, that's the match where I felt the absolute most comfortable. I had the most fun, and I felt like I commentated very well. And to kind of wrap this around to the Swarmhost point, I'm not sure the exact reasonings, but part of that game or that match was the play styles of the players and how freaking hyperactive they were the entire time. And you talk about balance, you talk about units in StarCraft 2, and you talk about how Pult plays. He sends medevacs absolutely everywhere, and he is a crazy madman. He will attack, and he will attack in a million different directions. And it's so much fun to watch, and it's such a display of absolute skill, and that's why he's one of the best players in the world. And that's what I love seeing in StarCraft 2. At the same token, Huck, he's brilliant at that too, and he's brilliant at not only doing it himself, but identifying when Pult is going to do it and defending on all those different fronts. And that really brings out the best in these players as far as StarCraft 2 is concerned. And it's what I absolutely love watching, I absolutely love seeing. And the reason they're able to do this is the hyperactive units, the really fast medevacs, the blink stalkers. Huck will Huck will always go for that, or a lot of the time go for the hyperactive play. You talk about the races too, Protoss and Terran. I guess there's facets to this in all the races, but then you wrap it back to swarm hosts. They're a siege unit, yes. You talk about mech versus bio and Terrans. Sure, some players are going to elect to go for that more slow mobile route, but I guess it does provide a lot of that interesting strategy type stuff as far as, if we talk about actual war, when that happens, World War II, World War I, whatever wars happened in the past, it's not just hyperactive type stuff. There is an interesting element of strategy as far as a slow, methodical, taking advantage of more space, using space management, really seeing how these guys manage that space versus the playstyle of just being hyperactive everywhere and trying to just You just outspeed, outplay your opponent until you take him out. So sure, there's an interesting element there that I know Blizzard is looking to tune in on. But as far as Swarm Host is concerned, it's the tricky balance of how do you kind of keep that interesting strategy involved without just absolutely slowing down the game to a standstill, which is what happens with Swarm Host versus Swarm Host. So that's kind of my thoughts on all that. I'm not going to propose a solution just yet. Maybe you guys are thinking of stuff right now, and again, feel free to comment anytime if you have something you want to say, and if I do this again, which I probably will, I'll mention it in the next video. So yeah, that's kind of something I wanted to talk about, at least Swarm Host versus Swarm Host, something a lot of people were kind of brewing upon in the community and providing their own reflections upon. So that was an interesting game. And yeah, that kind of wraps up probably the two main games that I think of when I think of Lone Star Clash 3, the Huck versus Polt and the Patriots versus Stefano. And kind of one more quick point to add on to that. If y'all watch Jaedong versus Stefano did the same thing versus Jaedong, right? With Swarm Host, and Jaedong refused. He could have made the Swarm Host and kind of forced it into a draw kind of a thing, but he kind of refused. He decided, all right, let's try to fix this. And he started going in a bunch of different tech paths with his Zerg units to try to break the stuff Stefano was doing. Jaedong couldn't do anything about it. At the end of that game, Jaedong's like, are you having fun, Stefano? Are you having fun? Is this fun for you? Because Jaedong's a guy, he wants to be everywhere. He wants to multitask. He wants to send units all across the map. He doesn't want to be forced into a situation where he has to do the slow siege stuff. He doesn't want that. And Stefano, and Jaedong, I feel like he's like, Stefano, you're kind of resorting to this playstyle of just slow, I don't want to say nothingness, but obviously Stefano is brilliant at it. But you know, I think that's Jaedong's mentality, and he kind of this was kind of proven in the interview afterwards. And it was like, so Jaedong, how do you think you deal with Stefano? And Jaedong was the Swarm Host play, and Jaedong was like, I have no idea. That's literally what he said. So something that's interesting to me, maybe that I thought of while I was casting, is just the influx of minerals that the opposing players has when the other person goes for Swarm Hosts. What can a Zerg player make with excess minerals besides static defense that can have any use versus the Swarm Host stuff, right? If that makes any sense at all, because that's something I noticed. The minerals were floating very heavily for both players. So is there something that can be added that can utilize the excess minerals that can make the game much more fast-paced? Outside of obviously the Swarm Host Locust stuff is going to happen, but are there side battles that can still happen, or side engagements, or side aspects of play, of progress in the game that the players can use to try to out-duke each other? I don't know. Food for thought. So yeah, cool. Anything else I wanted to mention along that department? I don't believe so. Okay, cool. So yeah, Sunday, Lone Star Clash 3. What else do I want to talk about? Texas is awesome. The people here are great. Talked about that. Yeah, I think we actually might be rounding this out. I'm not sure how long we've been talking. Okay, cool. I can see the timer. 28 minutes, 17 seconds. Hopefully this isn't too boring. Hopefully it's relatively engaging. Any other talking points? This has been fun. Let's see. Future events, I guess? Or what am I going to do next? We'll see. You know, school is still a priority for me. Trying to figure all that out. Again, I want to graduate by December. What's next for me? Let's see. We'll see. Obviously, I'd love to cast events. I more love just hanging out, though, with people and just talking and getting stories. And, you know, I love casting too, but I don't know if I might be better on like a couch, like 2 couches type role, as far as, you know, bringing the players on, just talking to them, getting their stories, just diving deep into the players' personalities and drawing that out of them, because I think that's an element that could be focused on a bit more in productions. And I don't know if I want to just stick to StarCraft 2 either. I feel like, you know, it's always good to branch out. Maybe try some other stuff, but this is the stuff going through mine. More on that later. But more on that later. We'll see what happens. Streaming, I don't know. Maybe we'll see. The thing about streaming is, I'm not amazing at any of these games. I love them, obviously, and if I probably invested all my time into it, I might be able to get really good. but no one's going to watch my stream to watch me play the games. I feel if you want to watch someone play a game, you're going to go watch a professional player. So as far as streaming is concerned, and honestly, I'd love your thoughts on this. I don't know what I could really stream that would provide what I want and what the audience would want. And I don't know, like maybe I'll try to come up with shows or something. That's something I could see myself doing, kind of provide a host role. But I don't want to step on anyone's toes that's already doing it. And I'd really want to be proactive about doing something that's not necessarily there or hasn't necessarily been there before, and that people can watch and they feel like they're not wasting their time, or it's providing very interesting discussion type thing. And you can only talk about StarCraft 2 for so long. I think there's a lot of other interesting stuff that may be able to be talked about in a show, and that's kind of a role I might be able to see. I might see myself fulfilling. But yeah, I don't know if I see myself streaming games and just playing, unless it's like a team format and I have friends on Skype and we're just talking and having a great time. But when I play games and I lose, like, it's sad, and no one wants to see me get sad. So I just want to be happy and energetic and have a conversation and have fun. So if I can find that secret formula, whatever that is, that's when I'll probably start streaming more regularly. Until then, maybe stuff like this. Again, this is the first time I'm doing this, so we'll see how I feel at the end of this, and we'll see how the feedback feels from you guys. What else? Any questions? I also like viewer interaction too. I really like that. Like, I'll always be the guy going in the chat and talking. It's fun. Or I'll bring people on Skype. I would love to do stuff like that. Yeah, cool. This was a productive conversation. Anything else? I think that about wraps up everything I wanted to talk about. I guess I'll scroll through my Twitter, because I know I tweeted if anyone had anything that they wanted to mention, or that they wanted me to mention in a vlog or a blog type thing. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. If y'all just throw down the questions down below. I've been talking so much, I'm actually getting a little bit tired, a little bit weary. Cool. Okay, William Combs, aka Vigamos on Twitter, asks, I enjoy hearing about personal experiences, interactions with the organizers, players, and the vibes you got from it all. I talked about that a lot already, I think. Not so much players. So Polt, I want to talk about Polt and Violet. I have to. I've been friends with them from the beginning. And these are two super classy guys. They're learning English. They're amazing at English. And they're always smiling. They're always happy. They're always eager to have a conversation. And they got second and fourth, I think, which is very solid for both of them. I'm trying to think about what kind of perspective you guys would want from that. Polt always has a smile, and he talks in English, and he's always eager to learn, and he's always asking questions, which is great. I did a lot of driving this weekend, taking them from place to place, just hanging out, and we actually had some pretty awesome discussions. Violet, of course, very, very loving guy, very great guy. I've known him for a long time too, and it's so much fun hanging out with them. I hope I'm answering the questions okay. State, great guy too. Again, all these guys are fantastic. If you have a chance to go to the event, hopefully you can get into at least perhaps a minor, at least a very small conversation with them to kind of get a feel for their personalities. But State is a great guy as well. Anna, okay, quick story, and this will probably round out this vlog. I don't want it to be too long. Anna Prosser, amazing person, known her for a bit. She actually missed her flight to the event on Friday, so it was looking not so fun. We were scrambling on Friday night to figure out kind of a solution to find a replacement. What we ended up doing was she booked a flight to Houston, and this was on Friday night around like 11 p.m. literally. I gotta give a huge shout out to a friend of mine, Matt Wilshire. You guys might see him in the community periodically. This guy bleeds esports, and he's always looking for ways to help out. When a typical person goes to an event, they're thinking about going into the crowd, chilling, hanging out with friends, watching the games, and just having a good time. When Matt is at an event, he's just thinking about the event and how he can make it better and how he can fix any problems, anything he can do. And Anna missed her flight, had to fly to Houston, and someone had to go pick her up at 11 p.m. on Friday from Austin to Houston. And so a little bit of geographical trivia. That's about a 3-hour drive there and a 3-hour drive back. So at 11 p.m. on Friday, Matt Wilshire said, "All right, I'll go pick her up." And Matt went and picked her up from the airport in Houston, and then brought her back so she could make it on time on Saturday. So shout out to both Anna and Matt for just having so much heart and just doing that just for fun or whatever. I don't know why he does these things, but he just does it. And Anna for muscling through. She was exhausted on Saturday. She didn't get any sleep the night before, but she did a great job coming through and being a great host. Cool, yeah, so that's a really cool story from that event. And what else? Anything else? Axeltoss Ramble, episode 1. Boring background, I know. Maybe there should be graphics around here or something. Maybe a cool intro video, outro video. I don't know. Just hanging out, having fun. But yeah, guys, this was fun. Gonna round out this episode. Trying to feel out if I have anything else I want to say. Not sure. Okay, I don't think I do. This was fun, guys. Thanks for watching. And if you have any comments or suggestions or whatever you feel like, if you have anything you want to say, throw it down in a comment below. You can tweet at me at Axeltoss. And, you know, have fun and enjoy life. That's all I got to say, guys. See you next time.